Hello and welcome to this month's road.cc Recommends, the show that tells you all about this month's best products that we've reviewed on the site.
Well, this month we have a ton of brilliant stuff to get through, don't we? And along with those products, we'll be telling you about one of our favourite cafes, a brilliant route to ride, and also providing some excellent, if we do say so ourselves, buying advice.
We'll finish with our product of the month, so let's crack on. Becca, why don't you tell us about a book to start off?
Okay. Well, this one is great for a fan of bike tech, being Gary Fisher and the Bicycle Revolution. This has only just come to the UK market, and it's a biography of one of cycling's design legends. Fisher is generally remembered more for his work within the mountain bike world, I'd say, but he was also an accomplished road cyclist. He's an advocate of utility cycling, has a major role in the industry, and is an all-round cycling visionary, I'd say. The stuff that he was advocating back in the day is now the norm on most of our bikes, to be honest. We're talking about big volume tyres, disc brakes, that sort of stuff. But if you want to learn a bit more about one of the people that helped to shape the off-road bike that you're riding today, this is an excellent option.
You know what? Our next product might actually have been influenced by Fisher. The Fearless WARLOCK frame set is a steel gravel adventure frame that is dedicated to one bike, and you can build it up any way you want. The quality of the welding and the robust nature of steel mean that you should be expecting this bike to stand the test of time and cope with some very rough terrain. There are plenty of mounts for racks, bags and guards, so you could just take this bike packing or just as easily turn it into the daily commuter. It is super versatile.
Well, from steel to aluminium now, Pro Vibes AERO alloy handlebar is a stiff race orientated bar that looks great, has excellent internal cable routing, and will save you a packet over carbon alternatives.
Yeah, this bar makes a lot of sense if you're looking for that aero top section but you don't fancy forking out for a carbon bar. The weight is a bit high at 333 grams, but it's all about aero these days, and the Vibe AERO alloy is at least nice and stiff for those big efforts in a sprint. I'd say it looks smart too.
Yeah, I really like the look of that as well. Now, you frequent this month's Cafe of the Month, don't you?
I have to say I do. It's one that I usually stop at the end of my ride. I know, I'm weird like that, but let's head to 8E Cafe on Chelsea Road for a slice of cake and some tasty info on what's available.
See what you did there?
No. Well, thank you to me. We are down at 8E Cafe on Chelsea Road. It's quite lovely in here. We've just been through pretty much all of the snacks to, sample them for testing purposes. I'm just about to finish my coffee, so it might be a time for another one. Great thing about this cafe is its proximity to a load of great stuff. Just down the road there is the Bristol to Bath cycle path. So if you're on a leisure ride, that's a really nice one. Goes along the canal, it's really nice and scenic. And then the countryside is just up there. Now there are some grim hills to get into it, but once you're up there, again, views over Bath are lovely. Now, if your bike is a bit broken, Cadence is a very good bike shop and it's just up there. So yeah, even if you just fancy a browse, this place is lovely, prices are decent. I best get on with finishing this coffee. I might have to have another one before I come back to the studio. Anyway, back to me and Becca. Well, that was some lovely cake. We want to know about your favourite cafe. Send us a recommendation. There are details on how to do so in the description below. If we use your cafe, then we'll say thanks by putting some money behind the till for your next visit.
Lovely stuff.
Now, Becca, we need to get back to the products, and next up is the Black Ink 20 wheel set. These are shallow climbing wheels that weighed in at just 1.2 kg, and they're going to be very easy to handle with a rim depth of just 18.5 millimeters. The carbon rim is nice and wide with our 28mm test tyres sitting out at 28.7 once installed. The stiffness is high, which when combined with the low weight makes these brilliant fun to ride in the hills. These seem to be well built too, with the wheels going back to black ink as perfectly true as they came out of the box. That price tag of £2,200 might be quite high, and it is, but it compares well to other high-end wheels.
Yeah, well, you've got another set of fancy wheels, and I've got a very snazzy set of bibs. Well, reviewer Ewan had the PACTIMO Summit Stratos range bibs on test, and he was mightily impressed with the comfort that they offered. He was particularly pleased to find that his usual undercarriage issues were solved thanks to the Summit shorts. So he tells us all the details of this. I think we can all relate to that, though, Liam.
Yeah, it's a sore subject when you're suffering from it. Right, from those shorts to one of the best value ways to upgrade your bike. Bar tape is our buying advice topic of choice this month. But before I take you through the things that you should look for when buying new tape, let's take a look at the Prime Comfort bar tape, which I have happily been wrapping my mitts around for the past month or so. This stuff is grippy, nicely padded, it wraps easily. And yes, the photos will show you that you'll have to excuse that bit where the silly shifters are. The body is too bulky to get it nice, I promise. The tape, though, it costs just 20 quid, which means that it's quite a bit more affordable than tapes that are tacky like this.
Right, but what about buying bar tape in general? What advice have you got for us all?
Well, I have to say that my time spent working in bike shops means that my first bit of advice is please, for the love of God, replace your tape once in a while. I do mine at least once a year, or more likely after I crash, because half of my bar tape has been cheese grated into some tarmac. The reason that I say this thing about replacing your tape is twofold. First, you wouldn't believe how grim some used bar tape is. The stuff soaks up sweat, rainwater, road spray, and everything that is contained within. So there is a hygiene element to think of. Usually a quick sniff, and yes, I am telling you to go and sniff your bar tape, maybe do it outside of other people. That's all you need to tell. If you pull your face away in horror and gag, replace that tape. It is nasty. Then there is also a safety element that has 2 points to consider. The first is quite visible. If you've got stuff like this prime tape with a grippy surface and your tape is worn, there isn't going to be much grip anymore. That isn't ideal if you'd like a decent hold of the bar over some rough ground, or you're wrenching on the drops in a sprint. The second point, though, that is the most alarming. Your sweat is really corrosive and the tape likes to hold onto it. Leave things long enough and the results can be really grim. I've seen handlebars that have corroded under the tape, so if you're doing a lot of indoor training, and that is especially bad for causing this, you make sure you're replacing your tape and cleaning underneath. What you get to replace your tape is up to you. I'm a big fan of everything from Chinelli cork tape that you can get in the sale for about 6 quid most of the time, and that goes right up to the expensive tape from the likes of Lizard Skins, Physique and Supercaz. You know, you can spend 30 quid. When looking for new tape, consider what you want from it. Do you want extra padding? If so, there are thicker tapes that are around 3mm thick. They work very nicely. Extra grip can be found from tacky tapes like the prime stuff that I've been using. Generally, this is more expensive and the tacky surface doesn't always last, so if you're after something for high mileage, then a more durable cork or synthetic material kind of would be ideal, really. For a nice balance, Pro's Sport Control Tape is a brilliant choice in my opinion. It is priced quite well at 15 quid. It allows you to stretch the tape when fitting. It lasts for ages, I found, and it has good padding. Add to that the gel backing, which makes getting a nice even wrap very achievable. Honestly, it's great tape.
You haven't mentioned colour though. Are you saying it's just a choice of black and white?
I
Surely
mean,
not.
I'm going to leave you to do you, because I know that I'm going to have no influence there. Yeah, colours, fine, go for it, match your bike. Who cares?
Yeah, match it or don't. I've had every colour under the sun, but I must say I had a phase of doing pure white bar tape.
Ooh.
And it doesn't look great for long, does it?
It looks good for the first day, though, when you get it nice and crisp.
Yeah, operative word being day there.
Yeah, you need to get stuff that you can clean. Mr. Sheen for cork tape.
Does it actually work?
It does. Your hands slide right off, though. It's not the best.
So
But your bar
maybe
tape's
not
white.
then.
Come on. It's white.
Now, let's move on to the ORRO by REPENTE saddle. It's up next on the list, and it's based on REPENTE's Prime 2.0 saddle that we reviewed and loved. This is a split design with a pressure relief channel running up the centre. The weight is low at 180 grams, but the real design highlight is the top section, which is detachable from the base. This has two benefits. Firstly, if you broke one part in a crash, you won't need to fork out for a whole new saddle. Then you can also change the top part for another REPENTE design should you not get on with the central cutout. To be honest, there's not really much more to say about it. Jamie tested it and he pretty much forgot about it, which is good, right?
It's the best thing that you can say about a saddle that you're testing. If you forget about it, it's brilliant. On to one for the racers now with the No Pins Pro 1 with speed pockets. Catchy name, isn't it? You might know about No Pins, you might not. They started out life as a company that put those clear plastic pockets on the back of skin suits. The idea being that you just slid your race number in rather than pinning it on. And that really wrecks skin suits. It's a brilliant idea, and you can get a range of their own clothing with the pockets. This one is a skin suit that is ideal for road racing. You've got the number pockets, No Pin calls them speed pockets, and you've also got the standard pockets underneath for your nutritional products. Away from the pocket situation, the fit is great. The materials are soft and the pad is great for a low front end riding position. Oh, and it's easy to get on too. Like when you spend your entire race season getting changed in a Ford Fiesta, that's really important.
I hear you, but you do have a very specific set of requirements from your skin suit, don't you? Well, away from that weird world of racing, the AERO Spider rear rack is a quick-fitting, tough and flexible rack for hanging AERO's excellent luggage system off, fitting to pretty much any bike with a 5mm hex and staying exactly where you left it over the toughest and roughest terrain. It's a brilliant addition to an adventure bike. This attaches via a very neat strap system, and once you get the hang of things, the rack can be totally removed from the bike in about 30 seconds. This thing will carry a maximum load of 16 kilograms, which is pretty impressive actually. It might be a little bit pricey at about £100 for the frame, but their performance really does help to justify that price tag.
Hey everyone, this month's route takes in the quiet lanes and bridleways of Herefordshire, and it finishes with some stunning views from the top of the Malvern Hills. Now, if you're a fan of wandering through orchards and hop fields and soaking up some amazing vistas, then this is definitely a ride for you. At 55 kilometres, it's not particularly long, but there are any number of ways you could extend it, either into the flat Severn Valley to the east or the hillier terrain towards Wales. We've started the route at the Malvern Link train station, so it's easy enough to get to on public transport with direct trains to London and Birmingham. You'll roll out on easy lanes north of the Malvern Hills with a couple of shortish climbs in the first 20k to warm you up. Then you'll head downhill past Bosbury before another climb through Wellington Heath at the bottom of the loop. There's normally very little traffic on the lanes, which means there's plenty of time to enjoy the views back towards the Malverns and west towards Hay Bluff. If you fancy a mid-ride stop, then at the bottom of the loop you're just a mile or so from Ledbury. The main climb on the route comes at the end, up onto the ridge of the Malvern Hills. This is a gravel ride and there are some rough sections, but the climb up to the viewpoint under the Worcestershire Beacon is all paved, so the climb is doable on any bike if you go back down the way you came up. You can climb all the way to the top of the beacon on bridleways and the views are extraordinary. It's said that on a clear day, 14 counties are visible from the top. The last section drops you back down off the hills, round North Hill and into North Malvern, where you can head back to the station or wander into Great Malvern to refuel.
Remember to send us your route suggestions. There's a free year of Komoot Premium on offer if we use your route. Details of how to get involved are in the description below. Becca, just a couple more products to talk about before we get to the product of the month. The Endura FS260 Pro bibs are super comfortable, offer a great fit, and the pad is sublime, both on the road and on gravel. That's great if you fancy doing a little off-road adventuring.
Yep.
They're also not overly expensive, so if you're looking for something with great quality on a budget, these would be a great bet. These deliver everything you want, from fit to comfort to performance. They just tick a lot of boxes, to be honest.
Right, Liam, the last one before the product of the month is the Galibier Regale ultralight jersey. This, as the name suggests, is a thin summer jersey that really impressed us with its comfort, durability and lack of compromise, especially at the pockets, which are deep and stretchy, yet surprisingly secure. We're always searching for this, aren't we? Our reviewer did suggest that it might be a little bit see-through though for some, but Liam, I hear this is your usual attire.
Well, our race jerseys for the team this year have been white, and anytime they get sweaty or it rains, they just go absolutely see-through. It's a nightmare, and I don't like wearing a base layer. So it's grim. I can't see it. It's fine for me. Everyone else.
Just embracing it there. Brilliant stuff.
Absolutely. Becca, I'd say it's time for the main event, our product of the month. Would you like to do the honours?
Clearly I would. It is only the Vitus Vitesse Evo CR eTap Axis. This is an absolute belter of a bike, and to tell us more, here's our tech editor, Matt Brett.
Vitus says the new frame is stiffer yet lighter, and the geometry puts you in the right position to ride fast and hard, whether you're a racer or you just like to pelt around the local lanes. A full wireless SRAM eTap group set at this price is hugely impressive too. The Vitesse Evo is a proper race bike. Stiffness levels are impressive for a start, thanks to oversized tube shapes and a full width bottom bracket built to BB 386 standard. Out of the saddle sprints are blisteringly fast, and as you rock the bike from side to side for full effect, there isn't the slightest whiff of any flex anywhere. It's the same on the climbs. Whether it's a short power climb or a long drag, the Vitus feels stiff and responsive. You get a full SRAM Rival eTap Access group set, and at the price of £3,200, that's incredibly impressive. When you think you also get Prime's Attacker wheels, which are tubeless ready, it's a pretty complete package. They could be upgraded to something carbon down the line, but reviewer Stu was hugely impressed by their performance. In fact, the only thing that he'd change would be the bar tape. The whole range is pretty good value, to be honest. There's an Ultegra mechanical group set with disc brakes that gets carbon Reynolds wheels at under £3,000, which is also excellent value.
Thanks, Matt. It is really a brilliant bike. Now, that's it for this month. Oh no, but that's all we've got time for, I'm afraid. All we need you to do now is get your cafe stops in, recommend us one, come on, and recommend us a route too.
Yes, we would love for you to get involved. And on that note, if you like this video, give us a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. That's all from us today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.